Hey, this is David Beauchene, founder of The Simple Secret to Food Freedom, and this time I want to talk a little bit about the difference between having food freedom and just having momentum to change, momentum towards changing your diet, escaping food addiction, whatever your goals are really with food and your food life. There's lots of, actually I'd say there's endless avenues for just momentum. And the thing about momentum is you can have momentum without going anywhere. If you were in a maze without an exit and you're running around in it, you can have momentum. You're not really getting anywhere. You're just kind of retracing and meandering around. You can have momentum on a treadmill, but you're not actually getting anywhere. I mean, you're getting exercise and everything, but when you get off the treadmill, you haven't gotten anywhere. Well, you could say that, that's what we want from a treadmill. We want exercise. Well, is all that we want from taking on a diet and taking on, some oppressive, difficult, challenging, eating regime where we eat this but don't eat this and mix this with that at this time of day, is all that we want from that just the exercise and experience of putting ourselves through all that stress? No, we want results, right? We want change. We want either to change our diet, something that a lot of people try to change their whole lives and are never really able to. It's something that slowly wears on their health, their mental well-being, their self-image. It takes away from everything in life. They're just not able to change it. Or there's people who feel that they're food addicted. Who are just compulsively eating and can't find a way to change. It's something that's been, equated with alcoholism and drug addiction and all these things. And the thing about dealing with both of those is that they both have the same solution. But since we don't know what that solution is, since people don't seem to understand exactly how to solve this, the best that they can give people is momentum. And so there are really two sides to the situation if you can't find food freedom, if you can't find balance with your food life, right? If you're trying to balance something and you're unable to balance, you're either going to go way to one side or way to the other, right? Because you can't balance in the center. And that's the way people deal with food. Either they don't know the solution and they just don't care, or they've given up, or they just don't have the energy or wherewithal to fight with it anymore. And so they slip way to the bad side of food. Just eat whatever they want to eat and, deal with the consequences, feel like crap, feel bad about themselves, and so on and so forth. Or they go way to the other side and they go out and they buy Whole Foods and, superfoods, and they get this whole diet plan together and they get this new sense of self that's really charging and invigorating and gives you that momentum, that burst forward for a week or a couple weeks or a couple months if you're lucky. Some people even carry it a year, but ultimately it doesn't get you there. It doesn't get you anywhere. It just puts you in motion. And that's why these extremes that you always see represented in, people's offering the solution to food problems when it comes to problem with your diet or problems with addiction, it's always this momentum that's found in extremes. Since you're way at this end, they have to show you way at this end where you're eating, nothing but goji berries and, this plant from whatever exotic location, and they show you a new life demonstrated to you by people, who look like they're just constantly surrounded by organic produce all day and everything. And it's very exciting, and it's also in no way the key to permanent change, which is what you actually want. The thing about balance is it's not extreme. When you have balance with food, which is something that I believe I can offer you, you're not constantly thinking about food. That's the mistake people make when they think about resolving their food life. Oh, I eat so bad. I need to eat so good. And I need to eat all these amazing things all the time and constantly be thinking about how great my diet is and just be constantly invigorated. No, that's not what food is. That's not how food works. Food is not meant to be the focus of our life. It's meant to be a pillar in our life, and it's meant to be a strong pillar. It's something that we do need to do correctly. We can't just eat whatever horrible thing for us and not care about it. We need to eat the right things. But we can't exalt our relationship with food to be the absolute end-all be-all of our joy in life. Because that's just a tactic of transitioning from the bad side of misbalance to the good side of misbalance. You're still just as far from having actual balance with food right there in the center. It's like if someone was bad with money, and we've all known people who have been bad with money throughout our lives. We've probably been that person from time to time even, And when you're bad with money, you draw lots of debt, you buy things you don't need. You just have patterns with money that are very self-destructive and ultimately are going to put you in a really bad way financially. But the solution to that wouldn't be going to the opposite end of the spectrum and constantly thinking about money and wondering about money and just obsessing over money. Even if that led you to a fantastic financial circumstance, if you were constantly thinking about money and worrying about money and just making money the center of your life, that would be ridiculous. You wouldn't have succeeded at all. You just would have moved to the opposite end of the spectrum of where you were before. And that's exactly what most people do with food. They start off eating horribly. They don't know why they do it. They don't know how to change. But all they can do is idealize something so far to the opposite end of the spectrum, something that's so extreme that it gives them a sense of momentum that carries them a few days or a few weeks or a few months, and then they go right back to normal because they haven't found balance. Now, balance is what food freedom is, and that's what I believe I can offer in my book, The Simple Secret to Food Freedom. All it boils down to is correcting this one key delusion that almost everyone has about food, but only a portion of the population is affected by so severely that we really start to stand out for it, that we're, designated as food addicts or people with awful diets, that we start to recognize these symptoms in our lives. And so one of the great things about the book is that it's telling you that, first off, you're not an invalid. There's not something horribly wrong with you. There's everything right with you. There's just something wrong with how you understand food. And it's something that no one, to my knowledge, has ever challenged about food before, because it's not something that you would think of while trying to challenge food. It's something that is very much outside of the box. And it's a thought that came to me pretty much at random, and luckily it stuck with me long enough to really make sense of my food life, which used to be, plain to say, truly, truly awful. And it changed almost overnight. I was afflicted by almost everything that I ate. I had to either avoid everything I could that would trigger me to consume more and not have enough calories for the day, or I would throw caution to the wind and just eat whatever thing and go through these awful withdrawal symptoms and craving sensations, and it was one side or the other, and life was miserable. And when this one key was applied, once it started to make sense of my situation, I went from that to happier with food than I'd ever been, and most importantly, eating healthier than I ever had. I am more satisfied now eating healthier than anyone I know in person than I was eating all the junk food and all the treats and all the snacks in the world. I could never even imagine going back to that, and I'm so happy about it, and it's something that I believe I can teach anyone. So if it's something that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and click the link. It'll either be on the video or somewhere below the video. I'll make it easy to spot. It'll take you over to The Simple Secret to Food Freedom. You can learn more about the book there, and hopefully you'll decide that this is the time where you're going to make a change, where you're not going to put up with this anymore. But until I can talk to you further, I hope that you're doing well. I hope you'll be doing better real soon, and I hope that I will be an integral part in that process. Thank you.